Right now, breaking news after the U.S. Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade. What this decision means for women across the country. Plus, an historic bipartisan bill on gun control passes in the Senate. We're going to take a closer look at this legislation. Good afternoon and welcome to News 3 Now at noon. Mark is actually off today. We are following breaking news out of Washington, D.C. The U.S. Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade, returning this issue of abortions back to the states. The decision ends constitutional protections for abortion that have been in place for nearly 50 years. Skylar Henry has more.
Demonstrators against abortion rights erupted in cheers after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The mood outside the court highly charged with the release of the much-anticipated ruling.
We don't want to hear cheers about women being slammed back to the dark ages and all of society slammed backwards.
The conservative majority court sided with the state of Mississippi and its supporters in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization. With their case, Mississippi officials asked the high court to eliminate the constitutional right to abortion, first established in 1973.
This is a wonderful opportunity to return this to the people.
According to the Guttmacher Institute, which supports abortion rights, an estimated 26 states were either certain or likely to ban abortion if the high court overturned or dismantled Roe. The decision here today is the outcome of decades-long lobbying by groups against abortion rights. The appointment of 3 conservative justices during the Trump administration made it a sudden reality.
We've been knowing this was going to go down since Kavanaugh.
The watershed ruling follows an unprecedented leak of a draft majority opinion that sparked protests, including some outside justices' homes. The leak has impacted the high court from the inside out. Chief Justice John Roberts has ordered a full investigation. Today, Roberts did not join the 5 conservative justices or 3 liberals. He said, in his own opinion, he would have stopped short of ending the right to abortion. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
And there's been plenty of reaction pouring in from a number of different elected leaders. We're going to start with our own Governor Tony Evers, who said, quote, "This is a grim day for our state and our country. I'm heartbroken for the millions of Wisconsinites and Americans the U.S. Supreme Court has now abandoned." Evers would go on to call this an absolutely disastrous decision, adding that they will fight to overturn Roe v. Wade with any power that they do have. Senator Tammy Baldwin released a statement saying that Republicans have taken us back to 1849 and it's Republicans who want to keep us there. She added that women will now have fewer rights than their mothers and grandmothers had for decades. Senator Ron Johnson said in a statement that today is, quote, "a victory for life and for those who have fought for decades for unprotected and unborn children." He added, hopefully the debate will be conducted with compassion and respect. Democratic candidate for Senate Sarah Godlewski held a virtual press conference saying this.
For Wisconsin, it means that we are willing to send women back to 1849. There are no exceptions for rape or for incest, and further, they're willing to jail doctors for doing the right thing.
The president of the Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin released a video statement this morning pointing out the lack of rights modern women will now have compared to those from generations before them.
Today, our daughters have less rights than their mothers, less rights than their grandmothers. This is absolutely unconscionable. People should be able to make their own healthcare decisions. This should not be political.
The Wisconsin Family Action Group released their own statement today saying today's decision does not mean that their work is done. Wisconsin Family Action will, quote, "continue its vision to build a Wisconsin where God is honored, life is respected, and families flourish." GOP candidate Rebecca Kleefisch also released a statement today. She said in part, now the abortion debate goes back to the states where it always belonged. She also said, as a state, we must hold firm for the voiceless and protect their right to life. Madison Speaker Robin Vos said in a statement today, quote, "safeguarding the lives of unborn children should not be controversial. Today's decision reaffirms their lives are precious and worthy of protecting." All right, let's head to the Weather Center now, where Julian Seawright has a look at your certified most accurate forecast. Julian?
Well, it's beautiful outside as we see pretty blue kicking things off for our afternoon, and temperatures are rather warm here in Madison. 85 degrees for us. May see a couple of high-level clouds, but for the most part, folks, it's going to be blue skies and sunshine throughout much of our afternoon and heading into our evening hours. Dew points are about 62 degrees. It's not overly humid at all, but you could feel a little bit of that humidity throughout the course of the day. But just note that our heat indices aren't even really pushing too much further than what our surface temperatures are as of right now. Many areas just west of Dane County are already into the upper 80s for us, as we're into the 88-degree mark for Janesville and 85 degrees for Platteville. Our friends in La Crosse, 91 degrees all ready to kick off our noon hour. And here's a look at our dew points. Some of us, once again, just feeling that humidity for many areas just northwest of Dane County as of right now. Really feeling that humidity over towards Viroqua as we're kicking things off for this noon hour. But as we plan out the rest of this evening, as I mentioned, it is going to be a warm one and hot as well, especially as we get into the later part of today, where we're going to see those upper 80s knocking on the door of 90 degrees for us. And that sunshine will definitely keep things quite toasty for us. But we're going to start to see a little change as we get into the weekend. We'll talk more about that in a few moments, Brad.
Yeah, Julian, it's been pretty perfect out there. I know it's hot, but any suggestions for, this weekend staying obviously out of the hot weather that we have?
Absolutely. Find cool spots. Always stay hydrated. That's always key number one. And if you are going to be using the sun, well, staying in the sun, always use sunscreen as well, because those UV rays do not play any games out there, Brad.
They do not. Thanks, Julian.
Yeah.
All right, we've got an update on the Slender Man case. 20-year-old Morgan Geyser is asking a Waukesha County judge to order her release, as he did for a year ago with the co-defendant. During a hearing yesterday, the judge appointed 3 doctors to evaluate Geyser's mental state and submit their reports by August 26th. The 2 Wisconsin women were sent to a mental health facility after a 2014 stabbing attack on a 6th grade classmate. A breakthrough 30 years in the making as the Senate passes bipartisan gun control legislation late last night. Deborah Alfarone has more on this historic bill.
The House is preparing to vote on new gun control legislation, putting it one step closer to become law.
The motion to concur with an amendment is agreed to.
The Senate passed the measure 65-33, and despite pressure from the NRA, 15 Republicans broke ranks to join Democrats, including Minority Leader Mitch McConnell.
What I'm mainly concerned about is dealing with the issues that have been brought to the fore by these mass shootings, which are directly related to school safety and mental health.
The bipartisan legislation will enhance gun background checks for people under 21. It sets aside $750 million to give to states that implement red flag laws designed to temporarily seize guns from people deemed dangerous. And it closes the so-called boyfriend loophole, preventing someone who's been convicted of domestic abuse but lives outside a victim's home from buying a gun.
Democrats had to drop some of their demands to get this bill passed, including a provision that prohibited the sale of semi-automatic rifles to people younger than 21.
This bill is a compromise. It doesn't do everything I want. But what we are doing will save thousands of lives.
Some Republicans who voted against it say the bill stomps on the Second Amendment and won't help save lives.
Doesn't stop violent crime, but that does infringe on the Second Amendment.
Many Republicans who voted in favor will not be facing voters in 2024. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
But get this, the breakthrough came on the same day that the U.S. Supreme Court struck down a New York law that would limit carrying guns outside of the home. A memorial service for the victims of the Surfside condo collapse is being held today in Florida to mark 1 year since that tragedy. Families of the victims, first responders, officials, and community members gathered at this site, marking the time of when this collapse happened. Altogether, 98 people died when the oceanfront building came down in the middle of the night. The grandson of one of the victims shared this.
Just this big void of love that was just constantly poured into my heart, into my family's heart.
First Lady Jill Biden was in attendance today and offered comfort to those who have lost a loved one. A judge has approved a $1 billion settlement in this case. A longtime dream is now a reality for Johnny Davis. The Big Ten Player of the Year rounds out the top 10 of the draft this year. He was selected 10th overall by the Washington Wizards. Now, he's the first Badger in 7 years to go in the first round. The last 2, of course, Frank Kaminsky and Sam Decker. Davis is coming off a tremendous sophomore campaign that catapulted him into the national stage. He averaged almost 20 points and 8 boards a game, helping him earn a first-team All-American spot. With the first pick in this year's draft, the Bucs selected Marjan Beauchamp from the G League. It was a very moving moment at the Barclays Center last night as Beauchamp hears his name called. Looking at his resume, in 12 games with the G League, he shot over 57% from the field, averaging over 15 points and 7 boards per game. The Bucs later traded into the second round and drafted a guard from France. There's much more to come on News 3 now at noon. Slow revenue growth means another round of layoffs for Netflix employees. We're going to have the details coming up in the Money Watch report.
You're watching News 3 Now at noon.
The guaranteed best mattress deals in Wisconsin are happening now at Ashley Stars and Stripes sale. Save $1,000 on luxury brands, plus bonus offers only available in store. Get 5 years special financing and 5-day delivery on all in-stock mattresses. Don't miss it. Only at Ashley.
Inflation is a tax hitting Wisconsin families and businesses, especially at the pump. But the Biden administration cut American energy production.
These are their policies. They want to drive up the price of fossil fuel. They want to drive up the price of energy. So apparently we use less of it.
Senator Ron Johnson is fighting to restore American energy independence. Johnson helped write legislation to finish the Keystone Pipeline, expand U.S. oil production, and promote natural gas. Tell Senator Johnson, keep fighting for American energy independence.
Out here, we know a thing or two about beef. Hy-Vee knows beef too. Only 6 out of 100 cattle are even good enough to bear the Hy-Vee brand. Only 6 out of 100. Quality like that is hard to find. So enjoy your Hy-Vee steak this weekend. You've earned it.
I'm Tim Michaels. My company was building the Keystone Pipeline, but then Joe Biden canceled it, afraid to offend liberals. Biden killed hundreds of jobs, sent gas prices way up, making everything more expensive. Only a career politician could make such a mess of things. I'm Tim Michaels. Liberals like Biden and Tony Evers are destroying our economy, and the hardworking people of Wisconsin, they're paying the price. As governor, I'll fight to make sure you keep more of your money, and I don't care who I offend to do it.
Get inspired. Tour 30 custom homes and see the newest trends. The Parade of Homes, exclusively sponsored by Nuns, is open daily, June 17th through 26th. Visit MadisonParadeOfHomes.com for tickets and more information.
Wisconsin, Governor, we have one chance to get this right. Remember one name, Kevin Nicholson, Marine, 5 years, Iraq, Afghanistan, came home, founded No Better Friend Corp, taught Wisconsin conservatives how to organize and win. This is about the ones who work for a living, worry about safe streets and buying groceries. Warrior conservatives. This is about Kevin Nicholson. Conservatives, rise up. We have a leader.
The Stars and Stripes sale is happening now at Ashley. Don't miss our biggest savings this summer. Shop early for doorbuster discounts up to 52% off while supplies last. Plus a holiday bonus of 5% off at checkout. And 5 years special financing and a $1,000 purchase is just $21 a month. Only at Ashley.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says tackling inflation is his #1 priority, but he admits raising interest rates too quickly could trigger a recession. Testifying before Congress for a second straight day on Thursday, Powell said higher rates are likely to remain in place until there's clear evidence that consumer prices are coming down. The Food and Drug Administration is banning all sales of Juul e-cigarettes. The decision followed a 2-year investigation by the agency. The FDA says Juul failed to prove that its vaping products help people stop smoking regular cigarettes. Juul says it will appeal the decision. And another round of layoffs has hit Netflix. The video streaming giant let go of roughly 300 staff members yesterday. That's about 3% of its workforce. More than 200 of the positions were based in the U.S. Netflix laid off 150 employees last month, citing reduced revenue growth. The company says it lost 200,000 subscribers during the first quarter of the year. And that is your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Matt Piper.
And at the noon hour, the Dow is up 644 points, NASDAQ is up 269 points, and the S&P 500 is up 90 points. Next at noon, we're going to share the latest AG numbers, plus a new Elvis biopic that hits the theaters today. Julian has your weekend forecast right after the break.
Tired of millionaires in the Senate like Ron Johnson who only look out for the rich and powerful? Mandela Barnes will be a voice for hard-working middle-class families. As the son of a teacher and a third-shift factory worker, he gets it. He'll make the big corporations and the rich pay their fair share and lower middle-class taxes to make things more affordable for us. Mandela Barnes knows it's about the middle class, not the millionaires. Courageous Leaders PAC Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
When it's hot, all you want is some relief. Relief from the heat outside, relief from sleepless nights, and relief from big electric bills. Even your air conditioning unit needs some relief. So when you wrap your home with our premium injection foam, it's like putting your entire house in a cooler. It keeps the hot air out, the cool air in, and your electric bills lower. And right now, when we foam your walls, we'll insulate your attic for free.
USA Insulation.
I'm Alex Lasry, a Democrat running to beat Senator Ron Johnson.
And I'm Lauren Lasry, and this is our daughter Eleanor. I know Alex will always fight for working families.
To get more money in the pockets of working people and lower costs.
By making paid leave available and healthcare more affordable.
And I'll always be a relentless supporter of a woman's right to choose.
Especially now. Alex is exactly the kind of ally Tammy Baldwin needs in the Senate.
So I approve this message because we have to do better than having Ron Johnson as our senator.
He has his grandfather's smile.
Her mother's eyes.
My cheekbones.
But will she have my diabetes?
My sickle cell anemia.
His father's heart disease.
Go to joinallofus.org to share your health information and speed up health research breakthroughs. The future of health begins with you.
This Saturday, we'll learn about a weekend event that's bringing our community closer. And Julian is tracking sunny conditions and warm temperatures this weekend. Your certified most accurate forecast, Saturday morning at 5 and 8.
He came in guns blazing, just took her out.
1 year after a tragic murder-suicide in Sun Prairie, the victim's loved ones want the world to know about one law they believe could have saved her. A law Wisconsin hasn't passed. News 3 Now investigates Sunday at 10. The Farm Report is sponsored by Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Pam Yankee with the Midwest Farm Report is actually on her summer break, but here are your farm numbers. The new Elvis movie features some African-American musicians and singers who influenced Elvis Presley in his formative years. Here's that story.
I never looked for trouble, but I never ran. I don't take no orders.
Before Elvis Presley became known as the king of rock and roll, his love of black music inspired him.
He's a young singer from Memphis, Tennessee. Give him a warm hayride welcome.
Baz Luhrmann explores those influences, from Sister Rosetta Tharpe to B.B. King in Elvis.
And you learn that we do not have Elvis without black music and black culture. And from the way that he dressed, to the way that he sings, to the way that he moves, him growing up in one of the few white houses in a black neighborhood, putting that into context is so incredibly important, because we got to give credit where credit is due.
Get my reward. She discovered Little Richard when he was 14 in Macon, Georgia. You know, that whole idea of, like, you know, it all starting in the 50s with this crop is a falsehood. And so to be able to rectify that, that's just plain cool.
Some people want to put me in jail the way I was moving.
They
might put me in jail for walking across the street, but you're a famous white boy. I'm not playing him in a time that we actually know him. We've never seen any footage of BB during this moment. I only have photos. So I'm still using my imagination to an extent as how would BB at that age speak?
I got to be a young little Richard who at the time probably was mentally going through so much with segregation, religion, sexuality, and I really got to go on stage and just be free and liberate myself.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
And you can see Elvis right now in theaters. All right, Julian, how's that weather looking?
Well, it's looking pretty good for our Friday, that's for sure. As we see outside, pretty blue sky for us, plenty of sunshine. The only thing is that it's a little warm, but it's summertime. That's what we're expecting around here in Madison. Now, it's 85 degrees as of right now. As we continue throughout the rest of the afternoon, heading into the evening, we are going to be sliding into those 90s, but it's not going to be too bad as we're not having too much humidity for us here in southern Wisconsin. And then going into tonight, it's still going to stay rather quiet. However, cloud cover will develop as we get into the later part of this evening. But aside from that, folks, we're not really going to be looking at too much changes until we get to tomorrow. So here's a look at our farmers market. This is how we're going to start off our weekend. First, we're going to start to look at some showers and potentially even some thunderstorms rolling into the mid part of the event. So make sure that you have your rain gear nearby because we are going to also see that break of any showers or storms into the afternoon hours. But aside from that, our early Saturday morning and parts of the afternoon are going to mainly be showers and thunderstorms for us here in southern Wisconsin. Then we're going to rise in terms of temperatures around 83 degrees for us. It's going to be more humid for tomorrow, so expect it to be quite sticky. But for Sunday, that's where we're going to see a bit of change that's actually pretty pleasant for us. 76 degrees, plenty of sunshine. That's right, it is going to just be flat out cooler. It's going to be into those 70s for us. But as we plan things out for us, as I mentioned, this evening is going to be quiet and we are going to be looking at plenty of warm air. Now, as we get into our early Saturday morning, you can see those clusters of storms and even rain is going to start to roll its way in, coming in from the southwest, and then it's going to start to track itself across southern Wisconsin in itself. But you can take note where the intensity of that heavy rainfall and where those storms are mainly going to be. It's just outside of Prairie du Chien, Boscobel, and Platteville, and it's going to continue to push itself across southern Wisconsin. So we're going to be looking at some pretty heavy rainfall and even some stormy conditions throughout our early morning hours. Then as we get in close to around lunchtime, it's going to start to fizzle out just a bit, but we could still see another couple rounds of some showers or even some storms starting to leak their way in just outside of Grant County and Crawford County. As we get into the rest of our Saturday, however, things are going to start to dry out, especially once we get into our Saturday night. So for those who are heading to Summerfest or have any kind of outdoor activities into our Saturday nights, well, it's still going to be looking pretty good for us. Transitioning into Sunday morning, it's going to be a bit mild, but we're going to stay rather cool as we see those 70s heading into our afternoon. Still plenty of sunshine as we get into the rest of the day as well. But again, take notes of these rain totals, the intensity of the rain, especially with those storms. If they move rather slowly over the early morning hours, we're looking at the heaviest rainfalls, be it between Prairie du Chien and Platteville, and even more so closer towards the southern tip of the Illinois state line. Now, on top of that, we could still see about a quarter or even half an inch of rainfall here in Madison. So take notes that it is going to be quite a soggy morning for us, but we are looking for things to start to dry out as we get into our evening. Now, aside from that, here's what we're looking at for our takeaways going into our Sunday and even for Monday. The 70s will return for some cooler weather on tap. Then into next week, well, plenty of sunshine as we're gradually going to be increasing those temperatures right back again into some summer-like feels as we're going to see those 80s back in the forecast, and they look like they're here to stay at least for that 7-day stretch for us. But until then, Brad, just a couple of days of some chances of some rain, but nothing too concrete as of right now. Still looking pretty smooth sailing as we get into next week.
Yeah, I feel like we've earned that a little bit.
Oh, definitely. I do enjoy a nice little breath of fresh air, especially if it's going to be as soggy as it's going to be tomorrow. A few days in the dry is definitely warranted.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Julian.
Yeah.
There's more to come at noon. Up next, let's go to see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Need to get out the mayo because the potato salad we're making today is practically naked. Yeah, I said naked, yet it's loaded with flavor.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
When cleaning your air ducts, it's important to clean the entire system. An air duct cleaning from Stanley Steamer removes pounds of trapped dirt, dust, and allergens from your home completely. Call today for a free inspection.
Stanley Steamer gets your home cleaner.
Made in America. It used to mean something here, but it doesn't seem to mean much to Ron Johnson. Senator Johnson pushed for special tax breaks for corporations that ship American jobs overseas. Worse, when his corporate PAC donor announced plans to create jobs outside Wisconsin, Johnson defended them.
It's not like we don't have enough jobs here in Wisconsin.
Senator Johnson, stop going easy on China and making it tougher on us.
Hey, this one's free. Car in front of you pay for it.
The best things in life are free.
This is the greatest day of my life!
Just wait till she hears about free installation from Feldco.
Free installation?
Free installation on windows, siding, doors, and roofing. Plus, no interest until 2024. That's something to get excited about.
Free installation ends Thursday. Call now.
Quality windows, siding, and doors. Call 866 for Feldco.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission products. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we do better when our clients do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Most senators couldn't tell you the cost of a gallon of milk. Thanks, Ruben. Or how much beef has gone up this year. But I'm not like most senators or any of the other millionaires running for Senate. My mom was a teacher and my dad worked third shift. I know how hard you work. And I know that by bringing manufacturing home, we create jobs and we lower costs. If we want to change Washington, we got to change the people we send there. I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
The Stanley Steamer started with one man, a van, and a whole lot of carpet. We've been innovating for a long time. Stanley Steamer now goes beyond carpet. Schedule a cleaning today.
With all the grilling, barbecuing, and church suppers still to come, if you don't want your side dishes to fall into the, oh, not that again category, then we have just what you're looking for. It's an old-fashioned German potato salad that's always welcome. We start by boiling about 4 pounds of thinly sliced potatoes. Once they're tender, we drain them. And while they cool, we finish cooking some bacon until it's crispy. Then we take it out of the pan and add a bit of vegetable oil and a chopped onion to the drippings. When the onion is tender, we stir in some vinegar, water, sugar, and a bit of salt. Now the potatoes go in along with half of the crumbled bacon and some chopped parsley. And after it warms through, we top it with the rest of the bacon and it's ready to serve. And do we ever have options? We can serve it hot right from the skillet, at room temperature, or even chilled. And with the smokiness of the bacon, the zing of the vinegar, and the tang from the onion, what's not to love? And like always, to get the recipe for our German potato salad, all you have to do is go online now. This way you'll be ready when you want something different that's really tasty. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found an old world way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
And as we take a quick look at the next 10 days, it's going to be hot today, not as hot tomorrow, then pretty mild, but I will say cooler from Sunday into Monday. Heading into next week, a nice stretch of some warmer weather is on the way, Brad.
All right, thanks so much, Julian, and thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you later at 4.